Well, hey, good morning, everybody. This is Justice's Waiting Room. This is a daily live podcast where we discuss news and politics. We go live here every morning at 8 a.m. We'll be live till about 9:30 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and Twitch. Likely Alien, so you're looking for. Trying to connect just about anywhere, but the only and again, I don't work for these people. This is just the way the cookie crumbles, right? Uh, I own the only social media website you can probably interact with me on is Blue Sky. I comment on TikTok when I'm bored. Otherwise, the Indiana Pacers play organized professional basketball this evening. I'm sharing the show. Gabby, Amanda, Debs, Ange, my wife Taylor. At some point. Every morning when this show starts, we listen to War by Edwin Starr. I was in the Marine Corps. Lots of the people that helped shape the show are veterans, veteran adjacent, or respect and appreciate veterans. Like military movies. You've heard this song, that's for sure. Absolutely nothing. All right, let me share the show real quick. I'll be real honest with you. After yesterday's bad news day, I was like, man, I'm not in a hurry to do that again. Twitch, YouTube. And I appreciate your patience while everybody settles in while I share the show. And again, as I've said before, I don't really babysit social media anymore. Oh, also, War was in rush hour. Thanks, Zeke. Man, it's so wild. You know what's wild to me? The people that aren't saying shit. You know what I mean? You know what's wild to me? The people that like are content. I don't even call it content creators. It's not limited to content creators. That ain't saying shit. Free Palestine, Slava Ukraine. Morning, morning, morning. Where to begin? We start with Le Monde, the world. Uh, Continuing the story is the unfolding, you know, conflict. A deep dive of Plattner. They're reporting a major fire at Russia's Ryazan oil refinery. Remember, Ukraine has already disrupted half of Russia's oil supply, so this is beyond that. Okay. Big ol' fire. South Korea to begin talks soon with U.S. on revising the Nuclear Energy Pact. Something to keep your eye on. Remember how I've told you I went back to school in the last few years. Went back to Purdue, studied data analytics. Uh, for the record, I loved it. Loved it. And the problem was the capstone courses were 75% AI. And having just spent the previous 2 years in an educational setting, meaning having the correct answer available to you, it's like super valuable. And AI can't help you. AI can't help you learn. It's learning from you. It will always be a step behind a bright mind. And there are lots of them. People are smart. So AI is not AI is a tool in your toolbox. It is not something that you spend 75% of a capstone course in college studying data analytics studying. And do you know how I know that I'm right? About once a week, a hugely profitable corporation completely abandons its AI program. Do you understand how that would devalue my education? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk about having a little bit of foresight. One of my professors for over a year, I had him in multiple classes, was an executive at AT&T that left and went back to be a professor because it starts with education. Mm-hmm. Because we have to get people to learn how to do data analytics without AI, or you become too reliant on AI, and then you're at the whim of who built it. Are you the creator? How could you trust something you didn't create? Especially more than your own brain and a calculator. You know, I hate to be the old man banging on the abacus, right? But I I had a 3.86 GPA in high school and a 3.86 GPA in college. Like I'm as sharp as it gets, and my professor in college was like, my advice would be if you want to continue in analytics, to go into video game development, because at least then your capstone courses are in programming and you can get certifications that can help get you in the door in data analytics and not have a huge AI heavy background, because you don't want an AI heavy background. It's not good. It's not a sharp. It's how do I say that? It's not a tool you want to spend a lot of time sharpening that blade. It's not that useful, right? It's like a curled knife. It's hard to explain to people, but it's like it's not having the right tool all the time. Yeah, yeah, but yeah, I feel like I could make a great video game, but that's besides the point. The cost was over $50,000, and it was either I eat that cost, or I had to stay in the program and VR&E would have paid for it if I agreed to be a STEM teacher. And I started looking at what STEM teachers get paid, and I found out the job postings were fake, that they were just bait to keep their existing teachers in the school system. They would change their title if they wanted a promotion. They'd get them over to STEM. And so, like, if you're teaching math or science and you're like a math or science teacher and you want that STEM tag, that's how you get it, is apply to be a STEM teacher within your school system, and then they'd pay you a little bit more money. You'd take a class, you'd agree to teach other stuff. Yeah. And I was like, man, that's 60K isn't even the starting. This is the same thing when I was going to school to be an air traffic controller, and the starting pay was like 45,000. And my old man, was making like $150,000. So imagine like growing up, going to work with your dad, right? Going and going and sitting in the radar room, right? And then you go to college and you start to field job offers starting at 45K. Like, the fuck? And now obviously you gotta like get through the probationary period. That gets you to like 60. And then you gotta check out of the areas that you're assigned, which means you gotta know the airspace and the regular patterns of air traffic for those and all the aircraft that are going to be flying regularly in your airspace. And once you can check out of those areas, you could easily get to like 90 to 120, $150,000 with overtime within a few years. So it's not that air traffic control is not a good job, not a great career, not a challenging one. One of the things that I will always really appreciate about air traffic control is collaboration. And they don't talk about it a lot because men are terrible communicators. But one of the things that you would notice that was happening in an air traffic control room, in those dark radar rooms, is they were communicating like a motherfucker. Not only, yeah. No, and the thing about it is, traditional wisdom would tell you that the last person you should listen to is the dropout. But I've done this 3 times. I have gone to school. I went to school for flight and air traffic control in 2002, but the FAA went on a hiring freeze. And so, me having been through like 2 years of flight, you're thinking like, it's another $50,000 to graduate with a flight degree. I'm not going to be an astronaut, and the FAA is on a hiring freeze. Is it worth $50,000 to get a degree you are not going to use? And the answer? No. No. Promise you. I have zero regrets. None. Nope. Because you know how I know? I've flown. In my life, the only thing I would have ever been happy in is something going a million miles an hour. Just so everyone knows, I was only ever happy with my hair on fire. It's just some of us. I didn't even like falling. I don't even like skydiving. It's not fast enough. I need propulsion. You need the oomph in your back. You know what I'm saying? Most of you don't know what I'm saying. But I did get to fly in a fighter jet when I was a little kid, when I was small enough to get in one. And it was exciting as fuck. Yeah. Yeah. And now they're using AI to disrupt presidential races. Okay? So, oh, wild. Anybody? Okay. Is anybody else a history buff? Does anybody else recall? It's been a long time ago. The Bloody Sunday shootings. It's like a paratrooper accused of murdering two people is like awful, right? Thanks, Gabby. I know. I want to continue to point out that Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel formed Hamas. So Hamas is an extension of the IDF. From what I understand, Hamas are IDF dropouts. Yeah, Sunday, Bloody Sunday. It's okay. Interesting. Swiss government to restrict travel for asylum seekers except Ukrainians. Ah, it's just a British. I think it was a British soldier accused of murdering two people. A British paratrooper. All right, all right, all right. Probably the best news of the day came yesterday. Yeah, like the U.S. creating the Taliban. Exactly. You build your own enemy. And for the record, that's the problem I have with people that say they want the US to return to its roots. You mean where we turned on everybody and we were disloyal and dishonest and we made deals and broke them and we stabbed people in the fucking back? Like, what part of our past do you want to return to? People have come to me and say, I bet you wish Obama was in charge." You mean the drone king? He's the fucking guy that killed people with drones. That we were panicking before this election about all the fucking unmanned aircraft, and it was like the guy that was the fucking drone nut was already in office. So the fact that U.S. sanctioned Russian oil, yeah, too many Judas. Oh my God, for real. Yo, what's crazy to me is that an entire generations of people, grew up, learned about the Confederates, right? The turncoats, the bad guy, and they were like, "Yeah, I empathize with that." What? No, you don't. Oh my God, those people like basically got flushed out of the country. And oh, by the way, I don't know, nobody is saying this. People are starting to put it together though. The president of the United States is bailing out Argentina because Argentina is where the Nazis escaped to after World War II. The bailout to Argentina, paying for a place, a safe house, a lot of money, right? But the hits are just going to keep coming. Okay. So the EU has joined the United States in heaping more sanctions on Russia. good. Heard about Indy yesterday. Wait, what happened in Indy yesterday? Oil rises nearly 5% on fresh U.S. sanctions against Russia. Nice. Ukrainian drone wipes out Russian Grad rocket launcher in precision strike. Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were trying to gerrymander Indiana, and Republicans don't have the votes. And now they're writing open letters. Braun is writing an open letter to the Republican Party about their, loyalty and shit to Trump. I just want to remind you that in this country we have no kings, and that all of these traitors can be court-martialed. You just can never vote Republican ever the fuck again in your life. hmm And you need to exile the people that talk about it. If they even speak on, oh, I'm thinking about voting for a Republican, punch them in the throat and move the fuck on with your life. You don't even need that. You don't need that around you. hmm And then when it comes to these Democrats, we need people that live in the districts of the people that get money from APAC to nominate someone to run against them that won't take money from APAC. And then you can work on their policy. People can be talked to, where you teach them like this is our party's platform, pro equality. So if you see racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, you call that shit the fuck out, and you stand by the people that are being attacked. Which for the record, it's not the homophobe. It's not the woman. It's not the person of color. That's not who needs attacked. That's who needs defended, right? And too often we get into the habit of blaming the victim because it's easy to not feel anything when you are just easily able to hold the person hurting accountable. Well, you did it to yourself. Shouldn't have worn that dress, right? It's reductive. Mm-hmm. King Charles becomes the first British monarch to pray with the Pope in 5 centuries. So, Jared, I heard about the schmazzies being in Argentina. Oh. hmm Oh, where you had no idea. Yeah. Yeah, Donald Trump's bailing out Argentina because that's where the Nazis fled to after World War II. Taking care of the family. You know what I mean? Back home. They made a video game about this. I think it's Mafia or Mafia 2. Yeah. A guy was stealing money and sending it to his family in the old country, and they had like he had a whole life in a foreign country going on. Yeah. He was like the head of the family. He gets killed. It's like the driver for the whole fucking game is that your like mafia don got fucking offed. Sorry. Yeah. So understand what we have to do in this country is we have to find 600 fucking people that won't take money from AI PAC, that are pro equality, pro union, and have a union background. So that would be kind of a requirement. Otherwise, you don't have credibility, right? Like I've only been a union member for like 6 months, but I can tell you like great leadership is going to come from someone along that line, right? Never caught Mengel in Argentina, no. The Kremlin accuses Trump of an act of war against Russia. I'm assuming this was after the sanctions were placed on them. And if you think Donald Trump wanted to put sanctions on Russia and that he wasn't forced to do that by outside forces, I'm sorry, you're stupid. That, what? Blackouts in Russia. So again, the beatings will continue until you get the fuck out of the country you invaded, actually. Hey, Euro Maiden. That's what I'm talking about. The EU finally approves the 19th Russian sanctions package banning the Russian LNG and more Shadow Fleet vehicles. The fuck is an LNG? Anyway. Wow. Prime Minister Mark Carney says Canada will double its non US exports as Canadians cannot rely on the United States. Unreliable. Oh, it's like a high school relationship. So people always say like the ICC is powerless. Cool story, bro. Vladimir Putin skipping G20 because he's afraid of getting arrested. You want to keep talking? Can't even leave his fucking home country. Benjamin Netanyahu, Donald Trump's the only one that can travel. Bibi and Putin can both not leave their home for fear of getting arrested. I want to continue to point this out. Yeah, yeah. Everybody, the story has been going this way for the while, for a while though. It's been going bad for Russia for a while, and it's been getting worse for Russia for a while. Trump would bail them out. One of Donald Trump's continuing to commit war crimes. I want to remind everyone that everybody was acting like Donald Trump was all powerful, and all he can do is get attack helicopters to raise boats. That's all he can do. The strongest military in the world. How many countries has he invaded? Zero. All those people are going to get court-martialed. The person in charge resigned. Do you, one of the things that's crazy about a resignation is stupid people think that means quitting and going home and laying in your bed until your fucking pay hits. Resigning means I'm getting a fucking lawyer and my job is suing your ass. So when you see resignation, that's a fucking good thing. It sucks that that person had to fucking resign from their job to make a point, but if you think someone if you think someone resigns without getting a fucking attorney, you're off your shit. Jesus. I want to continue to point out the Israel of today is not the Israel of the Bible. The Israel of today was founded in 1948 by then the head of the Jewish agency. His name was David Ben Gurion. Okay? David Ben Gurion established the state of Israel to mimic the United States' imperialist and expansionist ways. So, on the one hand, Israel's just doing the same shit the United States has done. So, if part of the reason that it bothers you so much is because it feels so familiar, it's almost like that's how we got here. Turning our backs on people, breaking agreements, wanton violence. If that isn't the fucking American spirit, that's funny. That's the fuck what we do here. That's our export, violence. One of the biggest sports in the United States is fist fighting. MMA. The most popular sport in the United States is grown men running into each other full speed. Football. I'm looking at headlines. Taiwan is courting MAGA influencers to try to get Trump's attention. That's yeah. Once it's important, Mayflower, to point out that the Israel of today is not the Israel that birthed the Israelites, that birthed Islam, Christian, Jews, right? These aren't the same people. Here's why. The establishment of Israel in 1948 was a strategic one. Its roots are in Nazism. Its formation in Nazism. Its function is in Nazism. These are just the facts about Israel. It's also a fact that Israel founded, I believe it was called a path home. And what it did for Jewish teenage boys was give them the ability to rape somebody and then just go home to Israel and it'll all blow over. Now, it's not acting like that didn't happen in other religions in the United States, like communities haven't protected rapists, but the fact that there is actually a program that sent Jewish boys that committed SA to Israel, who then got married and had kids in Israel, how do you think you get here in a couple generations when you've got IDF soldiers that literally are gang raping people in public while holding up their shields to keep the camera on them from videoing them doing it? hmm Because they're fucking parents. Hmm? Yeah, 100%. Remember, they think they're never leaving power. By the way, they're gonna want to negotiate for lesser penalties. Netanyahu is said to have insist PA have no role in Gaza. Ah, I want to continue to point out that this shit is never going to happen. We are never going to have peace in Palestine. SpaceX says it has cut Starlink services to Myanmar scam camps. New Zealand mega strike. Hell yeah for my union brothers and sisters out there that need a hell yeah, brother. New Zealand mega strike. 100,000 public sector workers demand better conditions. Teachers, nurses, public service staff among those walking off the job. Hey, that's just in New Zealand. Gas goes up 5%, right? Because of these, and the US is demanding the EU reverse new climate rules so that they can profit off the increase in demand for gas. All right, we got to talk about weather real quick. Here's your weather break. Tropical storm Melissa dumps heavy rain on Haiti and the Dominican Republic. So, as someone who grew up in Mission, as someone who has traveled a lot, um, always wanted to go to like Haiti or the Dominican Republic, and have had friends that are Haitian and Dominican. Um, so it pains me to see their home harmed. Yeah, miles ahead of us in social policy. Cameroon judges reject election rigging complaints. All right, here's the London police to deploy drones for faster emergency response. It's all drones and robots all the way down, my man. Ting! Ooh, baby. It's going to be a good day, Tater. All right, here's your headline. Headline of the day: U.S. reportedly lifts restrictions on Ukraine's long range missiles. Trump denies involvement. Hmm. Hmm. Remember, we were just talking about that. Oh, wait. Well, Ukraine confirms long range drone attack on Saransk arms factory over 700 kilometers inside Russia. So, I mean, yeah, I think Donald Trump's a puppet. Hmm. I think every time they out someone that's still alive as like an architect of all this, that person's quality of life diminishes. Like Russell Vought. Hmm? Yep. Polish. This is fucking rad. The Polish foreign minister urges Ukrainian drone commander to take out Druzhba oil pipeline. This is great. He said yesterday he never said anything about giving them tomahawk missiles. And then I think we read a story yesterday where the EU was like, "Hey, we'll buy those for Ukraine." First hypersonic. South Korea reveals first hypersonic air-to-ground missiles (HAGM) to boost regional deterrence. Whoa. I no. What I think people have to understand is that Vladimir Putin is former KGB. So when you're thinking about Donald Trump and his interaction with former KGB Vladimir Putin, remember I told you he is bent on the destruction of the United States and its allies, and he'll do anything to cause chaos and division within the United States as a means of its destruction. Yes, that is exactly what is happening. No ifs, ands, or buts. That is what it is. Mm-hmm. Here you go. Russia holds nuclear drills. I think that's a new one. Netanyahu and Vance reject idea U.S. is a client state. Benjamin Netanyahu has dismissed his national security chief over disputes on the Qatar strike. So just like in the United States, right, where the president is losing leaders that are either are being taken out because they refuse to do some shit, or they're resigning and saying I'm gonna get a fucking lawyer. Mm-hmm. Oh Jesus Christ! Imagine calling yourself supreme leader. Iran's supreme leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei on Monday told U.S. President to keep dreaming if he thinks U.S. airstrikes in June. Yada yada yada. Fuck. Stop that shit. Khamenei is antagonizing Donald Trump, who's gonna just bomb his ass. Remember, we were gonna have peace in the Middle East, right? That's such a weird thing. Supreme leader? Trump is a wannabe mobster. Hell yeah, he is. And he's really just a cokehead. South Korea launches rural basic income. I think everybody should get $500 every Friday. Thanks for playing from the government. I think we should all have universal health care, education. Hmm. This means that your insurance has no cost and your healthcare provider doesn't deny you coverage. Hmm. And it means that your service providers are challenged to cure you instead of treat you. Top UN court says Israel must allow UN relief agency to supply aid to Gaza. I want to continue to point out that in the new Battlefield 6, you can play as NATO or you can play as a mercenary. It's called Pax Armada. It's basically ice. Uh huh. Like when you're playing as in the campaign for Battlefield 6, you're playing as a NATO member in multiple foreign countries. Basically, conflict is going on and you're watching it, and then you're taking action based on, okay, well, the people on the left are NATO, the people on the right are attacking NATO. Okay, we're going to attack the people on the right. Like Al Jazeera worked hand in glove with Hamas. Taco, taco man. Yeah. Here's everybody was all like, what does it matter if we cut US aid? You starved people, bud. Okay? That's why cutting aid. Telegram and WhatsApp access restricted in 34 Russian regions. See how in these other countries they're restricting access to information? Let's switch to national news. Ooh, here's a big number. US hits $38 trillion dollars in debt after the fastest accumulation of trillion dollars outside the pandemic. I want you to stop paying your credit cards. Stop paying federal taxes. China imports no U.S. soybeans in September for the first time in 7 years, since the last time he was in office. How about this? Remember, we talked about some of the ICE members are training or saying that the test is too hard or the physical exam is too hard. Some new ICE recruits have shown up to training without full vetting. That's wild. Oh, you talk. Which article was it? China imports no soybeans oil. It does say access denied. It didn't when the first time I opened it and looked at the headline and read the article. That's wild. U.S. firearms examiners declared essential shutdown workers after gun lobby pressure. Americans able to buy deadly gangster weapons again as lobbying forces key concession from Trump officials. Hey, I didn't make up the words. I read them. So if you read that and you're like, "Holy shit, Jared." Hey, I read the byline. Americans able to buy deadly gangster weapons. I want to know what the fuck a gangster weapon is. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck is a G weapon? What are you talking about? In my eyes, a gangster weapon is one that's been used in crime. So it could literally be anything. Oh, great. So you know how there have been like all these data breaches lately? If you're getting a bunch of emails texts and phone calls from people you don't know. Here's your sign. The fuck is a gangster weapon? I don't even know what that is. What is that, like a MAC 10? MAC 10, a Benelli. Like what, like a sawed off? Are these gangster weapons now? That sounds like a racist dog whistle, if I've ever heard one. Despite the government being shut down, the Trump administration moves toward an Arctic Alaska oil lease sale despite the government being shut down. Yeah, the time again. Mm-mm-mm. In Reddit world, Reddit is suing Perplexity for scraping data to train its AI system. Yeah, yep, yep. I'm pretty sure it's a racist dog whistle. Pretty sure. Let's go. Sweden and Ukraine deepen their Air Force cooperation. Prime Minister Ulf Kristersson and President Volodymyr Zelensky have signed a letter of intent concerning cooperation in the field of air capabilities. Sweet. I don't know why that. Oh, I think it's in big news. They're gonna get justice for Sonia Massey. That trial is starting. I think we talked about this yesterday in the Discord. Iceland reports the presence of mosquitoes for the first time. They're gonna fucking hate that. Somebody's dogs are going bananas. It's not mine. I hope. Look at this shit. Germany is going to pay the local staff at U.S. bases during government shutdown. The German government on Wednesday said it will initiate an unscheduled expenditure to cover the salaries of 11,000 local employees working at U.S. bases in Germany who have been affected by a U.S. shutdown. Some countries take care of their people. Keep in mind, federal government workers aren't getting paid. SNAP benefits aren't going out on the 1st. But they got 40 million for Argentina. 40 billion for Argentina. Donald Trump has spent $1 trillion faster than anyone ever in office ever. He's demolishing the fucking East Wing of the White House to build a $200 million ballroom. Because that's what we need in a country with 700,000 homeless people in it. Okay, they're barking consistently enough. It makes me want to go see if it's my dogs. My wife will kill me. Dogs! Pam! Edmund! Ernie! Or not outside because they didn't let them outside. Okay, hold on. Okay, okay, okay. It's the neighbors. Somebody said it hits so hard watching them demolish the White House. No, no, no. All my dogs are angels. They're in bed and a curled in a ball where they're supposed to be. Remember, it was a currency swap. No, but my neighbors like they just decided to let their dogs out in the morning. Said fuck it. Okay. Chicago judge rules ICE agents can be arrested over unlawful actions. Okay. Hey, just know that my dogs are fucking angels, and that if I ever did leave them outside and come sit down to start a show, I'll never hear the fucking end of that. But also, my dogs, they bark and then run in the house because they know that I'll just tell them to come in the house. But yeah, the USDA announces SNAP benefits will not be issued in November. Right in time for Thanksgiving. Melania Trump threatened to sue Michael Wolff for $1 billion in an attempt to stop him from reporting on the Trump and Epstein's relationship. So he filed a lawsuit. So let's go to Discovery. Let's talk. So Michael Wolff in that ass. He's such a fucking angry, sad, angry man. So it's weird to ask why are the cops helping when a judge stepped in Chicago and said that they can be arrested. And it and the answer is because a judge hasn't stepped in and said ICE can be arrested by police for their actions. So a judge that what you have what see what's happening is called the establishment of precedent. So what the problem is when you don't win, and this is the thing about Donald Trump being a fucking loser, is that when you do shit that's illegal and you lose in court, you establish precedent. So now that Donald Trump has branded ICE his personal Gestapo and sending them to places like Chicago, the judge is going to look at evidence because judges make decisions based on evidence, and they go, well, there's a high percentage chance that an ICE agent is poorly trained, in poor physical condition, has poor aptitude, probably does not read the situation well, and is likely to commit a crime. I'm going to go ahead and say, hey, if they're committing crimes, they should be arrested. Hmm? And that establishes precedent in real time. So when your brain says, well, what about all the other states? What we've just done is establish precedent, and now that lets all them other judges in all them other cities get to make similar decisions based on that decision, and that's called precedent, and that's called using precedent. I learned that from John Grisham. Not even a lawyer, didn't even stay in a Holiday Inn Express last night. But you know what I'm never doing? I'm never sitting around going, well, what about the people in these other states? Oh, because it takes a judge to say they could be arrested for their actions, and then that establishes legal precedent, and now it can apply in Portland and Washington D.C. and L.A. And by the way, there was precedent established in L.A. with those deployments as well. So again, I would just ask, where else is ICE that They're in large groups causing issues other than Portland, LA, DC, and Chicago right now. Yeah. Facts and evidence? What's that? Yeah. He's such a fucking piss baby. hmm Trump wrongly claims he can invoke the Insurrection Act to shut down the courts. It's not how that works. Ugh. Trump admin warns Argentinian beef might be diseased. What the fuck are they doing? I would like to see evidence of that because that here's what we've talked about on the show, and that's one of the things that drives me crazy, Ange, is that legal action happens, and we to see a direct decline in the volume of action after that, and so we cause and effect, and we've done that a lot, and so it drives me crazy when people say, "Well, they're still doing it." Where? Can you point to a piece of evidence or are you feeling that? Because if you're just feeling that way, wow, you can let that go. That's not what's really going on here. What we've really seen is you got to break the law for us to establish legal precedent so that we can stop it in the future. And what we've seen, according to the mathematics, which doesn't give a fuck about your eyeballs or your feelings, what we've seen in the math is a direct decrease in the violent acts by ICE officers after judges have established that they could be arrested for their actions. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And mm-hmm. Saw video tested. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So understand, like, it's not a crime until you do it. So there's a reason that's like document everything, but they're masked. So it's like the problem is the bad guy is hiding his identity and committing crime in broad daylight. It's not that like the legal system doesn't work. There's no way to hold these people accountable. Ah! That's not actually happening. Diseased beef. It's what for dinner. This is something to get stressed about. ICE is stockpiling warheads and chemical weapons, which are considered like unusual. What the fuck does ICE need warheads and chemical weapons for? That's concerning and stressing. Remember, I told you he's doing the only things he can do: shoot fishermen and boats, tear down the fucking East Wing, because he doesn't even have a plan to rebuild the ballroom. It hasn't been approved. No plans filed. I want to continue to. He tore down the East Wing because he knew that it would piss people off. Hmm? Do do you feel like you're being played like a fiddle? Do you feel like a puppet on a marionette string? Because that's exactly why he did that. He did that just to stress you. And if you're letting it stress you, you're letting that demented old man with a fourth grade fucking education beat you. And there's no excuse for it. Oh, he will. It'll just take time. There's a reason we called it Justice's waiting room. Yes, ICE have been arrested. Yeah, yeah, that already happened. ICE got pulled over and arrested for DUI. Nancy Pelosi says police may arrest federal agents who violate California law. There you go. So you got to remember what we're doing is we're seeing the news. New. New. So when we catch something hot off the press, judge says this is illegal or unconstitutional, we are no longer thinking about what has happened prior, and we are now focused on how did that legal precedent that was set affect future behavior? Because if we're still looking at what happened yesterday and saying, well, all that fucking shit was still going on yesterday, what about all that shit? When I'm saying, like, legal precedent was established yesterday and should directly impact the future. We are no longer looking at what has already happened. We are looking at what happens in the future. And if you're stressing about the things that have already happened, and it's like, but this thing happened, and it's going to have a big impact on the future. Justice's waiting room. It doesn't look like, sound like, happen when, feel like. It's not for you. It's not about you. It's about there is just time. Time. And I know it sucks. I know you want justice now. But that's not ever how this shit has worked. Ever. Ever. In your whole fucking life. So I don't know why we think it's gonna now. Especially in this regime. We know they're gonna drag their fucking heels because they don't want to be held accountable. So that I could see is why you'd be frustrated. That why isn't shit happening? Mm-hmm. Because this regime is going to drag its heels on enforcement. Mm-hmm. And they're going to try to get as many people in as many positions of power to drag their heels too. Mm-hmm. But the problem is that they're losing. And they have done nothing but lose. Like 39 of 41 seats, and you got to understand that's significant. Significant losses. Mm-hmm. So they're losing in court, in elections. Mm-hmm. Donald Trump is not as popular as AOC. Yeah, yes, I'm intoxicated, but don't take my kids that are riding around in my car with me. You should. They're playing dumb, by the way. All these farmers that are suddenly shocked, acting as if Donald Trump's presidency isn't the most. Remember, in my eyes, an attempt to gerrymander is a, a losing man's game. Remember, I told you that. Psychologists are saying Donald Trump's cognitive collapse is clear. Expect the 25th Amendment and them try to normalize this and just hand the keys to JD Vance like nothing happened. Democratic Representative Jasmine Crockett strongly considering Texas Senate bid, with polling showing her in the lead. Yeah, pearl clutchers, right? Happy Thursday, everyone. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. My wife and I, this weekend, we have the weekend off. Mm-hmm. Aw, aw. This will make you feel good. The creators of the Melania Trump meme coin are accused of fraud as the values tanked by 95%. Where's my people saying they keep winning? They keep winning. Ah, it's breaking me. Where are you at? Where are you at? Their little scam coin. Dead in the water. Almost like everything Donald Trump touches turns to shit. Jeez. Melania put that "I'm gonna sue you for a Billy" out there on Michael Wolff, and he said, "Say what? Let's go to Discovery." No way for a great nation to run its finances. Amen. Yeah, we get a weekend off. Hell yeah. Jeff Merkley of Oregon, 23 hours straight. Guy who spent his dead relative's inheritance on a Trump coin and lost it all. Ooh. Ting! Judge rules in favor of Iowa teacher facing dismissal for Kirk related posts. And may I remind you that we're thinking about taking a drive, Al. Thinking about taking a little road trip. My people. They're cutting SSDI. Hey, they're cutting SSDI. Remember, he's only doing what he can do. So think about, he can get the military to raise boats, and remember, it's RAZE. I'm not raising boats, RAISE. Shooting the boats uh, is as much as he can muster militarily. Tearing down the east wing is as much as he could muster. Uh, to continue to distract. Remember, there's no actual plan submitted for that ballroom. I'm going to continue to say it. There's no plans submitted. It's almost like greed is in fact not good. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Somebody said tired of the chaos. In good news, I think we talked about this yesterday. Gavin Newsom is deploying the National Guard in California to support food banks. There you go. Some good news for you. Remember when I tell you that my whole life people have said shit like protest, boycott, and strike doesn't do anything, that being in a union doesn't do anything. And I digress. Join a union. Protest, boycott, and strike. Your existence should be in protest. Every action you take in protest. Absolutely. hmm As the movement grows towards the 3.5% threshold, okay, just wait. Just wait until food stamps don't go out on the first. Okay? The I paper. Yeah, people are gonna freak out. Yeah. SSDI, Snap. Carolyn Levitt has her own Secret Service detail. Donald Trump's fantasizing about her, so he's got to keep her safe. Okay, so she can have her blow on his mushroom. Trump misidentified a Colombian fisherman as a Venezuelan narco terrorist. That didn't even look like a drug boat. That looks like a fishing boat. Man, he's dumb. New York unveils portal for public to share ICE footage after 4 U.S. citizens arrested. Um, hmm. What do you bet a judge in New York uses the Chicago judge's ruling and the footage from the ICE raids in Chinatown to say ICE agents can also be arrested in New York City for their crimes during their work? Seems good, yeah? People were asking, people were saying, like, hey, it seems like fuck shit still happens even if a judge steps in, and I argue, does it? Does it? Or are you in a constant state of sadness? Might need to pick your head up, kid. If you didn't vote for this, it's not your fault. Control what you can control. Make sure you get an 8 hours of sleep at night. You probably need more like 9. Hmm? Yeah. Need to eat right, exercise, hydrate. hmm It's important to understand what's going on in the news, but it ain't your fault. You know, what I try not to do is wear it, bring it with me. You know what I mean? Carry it around. Far as I'm concerned, it's just a bunch of stories. And what we've done over the course of the show is we're following a bunch of storylines as they develop. 2 more weeks till governor elections. Hey, and as far as I'm concerned, here's how crazy life really is. I couldn't tell you a single Republican candidate for governor. I couldn't tell you who any of those people are. That's how bad of a job Republicans are doing of presenting a candidate to the public. hmm November. Wait, where are we talking about? November 4th, 2025, in 2 states, New Jersey and Virginia. Okay. Phil Murphy in New Jersey, it looks like. Abigail Spanberger. Is that what we're talking about? And Mickey Sherrill. Shitterelli. Somebody in the comments said, "Thanks, Kelly." Kelly said, "I saw ads the other day about the Virginia race, and the Republican running is batshit crazy." Yeah, yeah. You got to be careful voting for batshit crazy and a Zionist at this point. For me, I need a candidate that says if you took money from Russia, so this means RT, that's Russia Today, which is backed by the Kremlin, or you're a right wing elected official, you took money from Russia. You are a traitor. There's no coming back from that. Hmm. Now, for some reason, it feels like APAC has like a stranglehold on American politics. So I used to give the Democrats shit for APAC. APAC is eating fucking Republicans for lunch. Okay. Oh, I hope he loses then. Somebody needs to run on. We need more people. I saw the Socialist Workers Party there in Virginia had a candidate. That's a bad name. Because disabled people won't want to join a workers' party. We just need an American Socialist Party. We need a World Socialist Party. We need a World Socialist Council. We need people that are going to found socialist parties in their countries. Mm-hmm. Tinfoil hats for all the GOPs. Yeah. Mm-mm. Ooh! I love words so much. Pete Hegseth is a modern day narcissist, preoccupied with image, extravagantly unqualified for his position, yet extraordinarily self assured, morally bankrupt, intellectually barren, and as empty as a shattered amphora. Whew. I love them words. Did you see the Gavin Newsom came out with knee pads? That's a story right there. For all the people sucking up to Donald Trump. Hey, they're Trump themed knee pads. That's right. Homeland Security won't stop lying about who immigration enforcement is arresting. And by the way, I keep seeing a post from someone saying, hey, um, Homeland Security Investigations, HSI, is ICE. They've had to rebrand already. Yeah, that's pretty badass. Pregnant women describe miscarrying and bleeding out in ICE custody. Republicans are so pro-birth, right? Except when it's a colored woman, right? Cuomo ran an AI generated anti Zohran Mamdani ad. Knee pads as soft as him. He said he's going to send them to the heads of corporations, elected officials, and heads of state that bend the knee to Trump. Trump says U.S. cattle ranchers don't understand tariffs. Oh, and remember, Donald Trump says he has the ultimate authority to give himself $230 million for the investigations against him the last time he was in office. He is the final authority. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Police across the United States are spreading false rumors about Venezuelan gang threats. He ain't winning. Cuomo ain't winning. Yeah, I think the lawsuit against Melania Trump's a big deal. So don't sleep on that. Listen to some Eat the Rich, check the weather, and get out of here. Cool. Like I said, I understand feeling stressed, overwhelmed, you know, but but you don't have to. You do not have to blame yourself, especially if you did not vote for this. What I'm willing to say though, you can blame yourself if you said nothing. You can blame yourself um, for living in this sort of time frame and you never watched Boondock Saints, whose opening sort of mantra is all it takes for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And I will absolutely, beyond a shadow of a fucking doubt, say all day, every day, that I have met a whole lot of people that didn't vote for this shit, that also didn't say shit, didn't speak up, didn't speak out, aren't standing up, especially as like a white person, especially as like a white cis male, right? Especially as a white cis male that doesn't have anything to lose. Think about how shitty it is to be a white cis male, nothing to lose, and be a Trumper, right? That's fucking nuts. This don't make no sense. Holy shit! There is a massive rain. Holy shit! Whatever the fuck is going on in the central Texas. Is this today? Okay. Phew. All right, let's talk about it. That's Forget what I just said about massive amounts of rain all over the United States. That's not happening. Okay. It looks like there's rain in the very northwest part of the country, in Utah and Colorado, and a bunch of moisture in New Mexico moving into Texas. I also see some moisture in western New York and Pennsylvania, up in the northeast part of the country, really. Some moisture there in Michigan as well. As far as what else do we see, Jared? Wind and freeze warnings across the Midwest, from the west part of Kansas all the way to the east coast out to New York. Freeze warnings. I'm trying to remember what the difference between, I think, freeze and flood. I want to say it's cold and freeze warnings. Flash flood. It's not flash flood. It's not flash flood. But yeah, rain. Very little moisture today. It's very calm outside. Widespread freeze warnings. Okay. Okay. Keep your head on a swivel though. You never know what'll happen. Have a great day. Love you, Ange. I don't know what happened. Don't feel attacked. I'm just letting you know. There's For every action, there's a reaction. So you might see. They said the ICE agents could get arrested in this city, and then ICE agents acting like fuck sticks afterwards. But to a lesser degree, and those people are going to get held accountable. That's how it works now. So yeah, I love y'all. Have a good day. Stay safe. We'll see you tomorrow.